All right, what is up, Storm Chasers? We are live, and we got a guest here. So you know what? You've been on the channel before. I'm gonna just let you introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the real Nathan DALEY. You guys know I have a channel here on YouTube where I break down a lot of law enforcement related issues. I educate our community on how to have better outcomes with the police. For those who don't know, I'm a 13-year law enforcement veteran here in Georgia. 2 years ago, I had a serious accident, work-related injury, and unfortunately ended up having to retire. So now I utilize my time now on YouTube, and I also have a nonprofit called the Blue Phoenix Initiative. And overall, the goal is to help injured law enforcement officers, and then also repair the relationship with police officers and the Black community. So I talk about law. I talk about, I break down body camera issues and things like that, just criminal issues that take place just nationwide. I give my perspective and I educate my subscribers on things that they would not normally be aware of. So I just provide insight and translate a lot of difficult topics and issues so we can have a better understanding, you guys. I'm all for Black empowerment. I speak a lot about that on my channel as well. And so shout out to Storm for bringing me on, brother.
No problem, man. So y'all heard him. He said he's for Black empowerment.
Right.
Now somebody was coming at you in the chat
talking trash already.
And they said that's the one that don't like Black women. So do you want to respond to
that? Look, who was that? Was that Lady somebody?
Lady Mamba or something like that?
Lady Mamba said it. I think it was Lady Mamba. Yeah, she said I don't like Black. I love Black women. I love all shades of brown, you guys. Please don't believe the hype. I think what happened last time I was on the channel, we had a very interesting discussion about Black empowerment, and we were talking about things that we need to do as a community to regain control over our community, through economics. And I think, I made a statement, and of course, people always take things out of context when they get triggered. Listen, these are very difficult conversations to have, and sometimes people get a little sensitive. And I made a statement about weave, wigs, hair, makeup, nails, and things like that. Just basically stating that there's going to be a sacrifice needed for men and women to not support these different ethnic groups who are building businesses in our communities. We would have to basically make certain sacrifices. The men would have to, the women would have to, in order to push a lot of people out of our communities, and then also take over these businesses that we are investing in. Putting our dollars in hands of people who don't look like us. And so I think, shout out to her. She definitely got triggered by that.
Because she remembered you.
Yeah, she remembered.
Now, I got to tell you, we are going to let you guys call in at the end and let you guys, hey, Nate said he wants to smoke.
Bring it.
So if y'all got smoke for Nate, come up here and speak your piece. We're going to react to some clips. Y'all know how I do. I'm an instigator. I'm the one you guys hate. So, I like to start shit. That's just what I do. I love to be a shit starter. But
bring the smoke.
Let's get to it. We're going to react to this first clip here.
All right.
So, I'm going to share this.
You going to put it up here, or you going to put it on there?
I'll put it right here. So, it'll be off to the side. And we can do... Did you want to do the BDL first?
Nah, I'll say that last.
Say that for last. Okay.
Say that for last.
Because that's a little wild.
Yeah.
It's a little wild. So let's start off here with the 50 Cent clip.
Listen. Father's Day is a holiday. It's not really a holiday. You know what I'm saying? It's like I show y'all, even by the commercials. Look at the commercials. They'll show you Father's Day. They show you a screwdriver, power tool. Like, go fix it. They want to see you go fix it. You know what I'm saying? But then when Mother's Day comes, be like Zales because you care. Like, don't want diamonds, you know what I'm saying? They'll do it for their mother, but they don't do it for their father. Mother's Day come, get flowers, cards, you get a text on Father's Day. That's just get a text to make sure that you still know where you should send your check. Listen. Father's Day is a holiday. It's not really a holiday. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I show y'all this, even by the commercials. Look at the commercials. They'll show you Father's Day.
Pause that. So
interesting.
All right, so they said it was an echo, but y'all caught y'all got the gist of it. Basically, 50 Cent was saying that, when it comes to Father's Day, that people don't really celebrate their fathers like that. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that could be the right message, but the wrong messenger saying that's how 50 Cent, said that his youngest son can get hit by a bus.
Yikes!
Yeah. I'm just. I'm just saying. I'm gonna let you respond, and then I got a question for you.
All right. So, was he lying though? Right. Listen, we know that men don't really get a lot of we don't get the type of love and appreciation on the same level, the same magnitude as women. Of course, that's just how society has always been. And so what 50 said was right, in my opinion. Women get diamonds for Mother's Day. They get all, lavish treatment. And you don't really see that level of marketing for men. And so a lot of times guys get stuff they can use around the house, like tools, a tie, we want diamonds too. Why not?
Or not even a call, just a text.
Or just, he said, just a text. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think men have gotten used to being treated like that. And now we have a platform to speak out and say, hold on. We want massages too. We want to be sent overseas and flued out, right? Like, well, why not?
Fellas wanted to.
We wanted to. I always tell when I'm talking to ladies, I always say, listen, we want the same things you guys want, the same level of attention, the same level of affection. We want the same. So whatever you want, that best we want the same thing. I think it's just time that men just start actually talking about these things and sharing it. So
now I gotta give you some pushback on that, because I've been thinking about this. Right? Ever since I saw that clip the day before last, I'm like, okay. Is it that we celebrate moms more, or okay, let me back up. Or we paying a pussy tax? And by pussy tax, I mean, do we pay extra in life because women have to actually birth the child? Because if you think about it, we just shoot a load off and then we're done. I mean, we pay for it. But they pay for it.
Well, the thing is, I think we have a different responsibility than women. Women carry a serious burden. Their job is to, again, populate a community. They're legacy builders in a sense. So there's a great responsibility that women have. Where women bring in life, a man's job is to protect that life, right? So both sides are equally important. They're just different responsibilities, and I think. What do you give a man that's willing to die for you, right? I think if you look at it from that perspective, a man is supposed to die for his wife, die for his woman. So what does that man deserve?
Damn. Okay.
So
okay.
Now if you got a brother, you got a man, and he doesn't look at you that way, then you got the wrong type of man.
That's true. Then he don't deserve shit.
He don't deserve nothing.
There you go.
He deserve a text.
Okay. Miss Kitty Cat said Father's Day is every day, doing what you're supposed to do as a father. That's true too. We should celebrate our parents every day. Now I don't know if you guys knew, but actually there is a National Single Parents Day. Because then the next thing that came up is, should you wish your mom a happy Father's Day if she was a single mom? Even though there is literally a Single Parents Day, it's like March 21st or something like that. But nobody celebrates it. But
so my thing is, I believe a man's holiday is for men. I don't believe it's okay for women to hijack that. I do understand the sentiment value behind it, saying that, hey, my father wasn't around, or maybe he's absent, and as a mom, you take on that role. I respect it, though. I understand it. But at the same time, I think, we forget to give men their flowers when they're out here doing good. If it's a man's holiday, we already don't get enough already as it is.
Man,
let us have our day, right? Let us have our day.
Let's have our day.
So that's my thoughts on that one.
That is funny. Now, what's also funny in the chat, they saying that you remind them of Lamar Odom. Have you ever gotten that?
No. Is that the drug addict?
Yeah.
It's the beard. I got to work on it.
I don't see Lamar Odom.
I don't see it.
Where did y'all get Lamar Odom from?
Man, feelings are hurt.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about
folks were saying Tyrese last time I was up here. Now everybody acting brand new.
Tyrese?
Yeah, I guess because you can't tell them the beard and all that.
All bald men don't look alike, y'all. Come on.
Facts.
Okay, so we're going to move right along here. And it usually lets me share it automatically, but we'll go around this.
Yeah, it's always go back and then add the next one.
There we go.
The throwback to how black men used to carry themselves before we got ratchet. Before we started praising the lows of the low. Before we started thinking it was cool to be dumb and ignorant and purposely misspeaking, misspelling, sounding ignorant and dumb. Before we started praising the lowest of the low, it reeks of low self-esteem as a culture. To say, oh, this is black if you're ignorant. But when you're not, we equate that with being white. So we're gonna give that to the white man. Like they have the exclusivity rights on intelligence and class. Shouldn't we be like, yo, he's with us. You ain't black enough because you use proper English. So we really are saying that we're not capable of elevating, but then these are the same people that want to be referred to as a king. And then you have one actually treating a woman as a queen and actually carrying himself as a king. And we're going to sit here and try to take his black card from him because he's not acting up. He's not acting up, wilding out. Mm-hmm. It is so ridiculous. And then we say we're not a monolith. But then if you don't do these things, like you said, Q, you're not one of us and you can't sit with us. Stop doing this to other black people. Stop making black people feel guilty for being classy and intelligent and carrying themselves in the way that we should all be trying to aspire to be. Like, it is ridiculous that the hate for Sierra is because she moved on from a future. So all these like future F boys that are like him, future lights, y'all feel some kind of way because I hit you in the gut because you feel that, right? You know your girl deserves better. I really wish we can get away from that and stop praising that. His blackness should not be in question because he's not ignorant. Mm-hmm. We should stop. We need to stop embracing that. We ain't that. Russell Wilson to me is a throwback to how black men
mute us. So y'all heard Claudia Jordan. Russell is a throwback to how black men used to be. Now I'm gonna say this. Now when you're right, I'm with you. I know a lot of people don't agree with a lot of things Claudia says, or they said that she said anti-black things in the past. I can't think of nothing off the top of my head. I remember when she roasted T.I.'s wife so bad back when Jamie Foxx had that the foxhole on Sirius XM. Yeah. And she said how like Tiny was like the ugliest mixed shit she had ever seen. I know. So I remember that, Claudia.
Well, accurate, but
and then I remember Corey Holcomb going in on Claudia's feet because Claudia got bad feet.
That's what they say. Say.
Her feet look horrible.
Do they really?
Oh, bad.
Yeah.
Like God gave her beauty, just ugly.
She ain't that cute to me though.
Ooh.
Yeah, she ain't that cute to me.
But nonetheless, I'm with her on this. I feel like, why is there so much hate out there for Russell Wilson? I don't know if you've been looking at these podcasts, but like everybody's going in on Russell.
I would say this: I'm not a fan of what is that, Fox Soul? Part of Fox Soul or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of the situation they got going on over there. I don't really like how they do stuff, but she said some things that were really accurate, and they definitely need to be addressed in our community from a personal standpoint, and even from a professional standpoint. The issue with Russell Wilson, calling him a simp and calling him a sellout because he's, again, unfortunately in our community, we like to glorify a lot of negative things in our culture and then uphold those over people who are upholding positive values. And so it's now popular to be the drug dealer. It's popular to be the gang member. It's popular to be the disrespectful guy. It's popular to be the guy who's slaying a bunch of women, throwing his seat around. Like, that's what's glorified in our community. And so when you have a guy who's like, oh, I want to save myself for marriage, that guy is disrespected by women, by other men. He's looked down, he's talked down on. And the guy who's trying to be romantic, the guy who's trying to be respectful, you have women that disrespect that guy. That guy is not cool. He doesn't fit in. He's called lame. He speaks proper English. He's called he talks white.
I've heard both sides say that about him. Yeah.
So when you're an articulate Black man and you are doing things and you're upholding values and self-respect for yourself and for women, you don't get any respect. A lot of times, you're treated and you're casted aside. Unfortunately, in our community, we have this thing where we look at Blackness as something that can be earned and or taken away, as if there's some type of
like a black card, literally.
That's a black card. Yeah. So you say something someone doesn't like, i.e. the lady in the beginning, like, oh, you don't like black women to the streets with you, right?
Yeah.
She called me like a pro Dusty or something, and so again, we're so quick to dismiss our own people because we disagree with one another, or we might have a different upbringing, or we like different type of things. Like, I do martial arts. When I was in high school and middle school, people thought that was lame. I was like, oh, only white kids do that, right? So, we purposely so we purposely isolate ourselves. until someone in our community makes it popular, like skateboarding, right? Lil Wayne started skateboarding,
popular, yeah.
And but prior to that, it was like that's what white people do, right? And so
you're not black as a kid, though.
Same here,
yeah.
You know, same here. And so, what she's saying, there's a lot of truth to it. Is Russell Wilson a simp? No, he's not a simp. You know, and again, we got to talk about what's going on in our community where you have a gentleman like Future who's allowed to just throw his seed around like it's water, yet you have women who are giving him that access, though, right?
And it's only because he got money, right? Because if he wasn't Future, I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have baddies like that. He may still be throwing around C, because we know ugly niggas that got a bunch of kids.
This is true, but in our community, from what I've seen, you have a small percentage of men who aren't worth a damn, and they're actually getting more access to women than men who actually have themselves together. So the problem is we got to talk about.
That is?
I think it's a culture issue. Because again, the guy who's not on his purpose, the guy who's not focused, the guy who's not has himself together, he'll have multiple baby moms, he'll have multiple children. Yet you turn around and ask him what is he doing with his life, and he's like, I want to be a rapper, right? Like I'm doing this, doing that, but he has no purpose. And so I think it's just a thing where ladies, unfortunately, there's some women in our community that actually support these type of men, right? You know, they're giving them access to their bodies, and they look at them and say, okay, well, you got 3 baby moms, and then you open yourself to this man, you know, without protection. Next, you know, you're baby mama number 4. And so I've seen a lot of that. These men don't want to be fathers. They don't want to be married. They have no interest of doing those things.
They just want to
have sex. And so,
but I looked at it from another way too, because I was talking to a good friend of mine who is a woman, and she said to me, she said, Storm, you know, those are the only kind of men that come up to us. And so what I'm wondering is, I don't want to use the term Pookie and Ray Ray because everybody say that shit, but the Futures,
right?
Is it that the women are flocking to them, or is it just that men like Future learn how to talk to women at an early age versus somebody like Russell who has been hyper focused on whatever he's grown to be a football player, so he probably ain't got the kind of game that a Future has. He doesn't know how to make a woman feel a certain kind of way when he talks, because it's all about your mouthpiece.
Well, and let me address this real quick, because women are saying it's not just women. It's not women's fault. No one, I think we get so caught up in trying to point blame in a situation. The reality is a man can't have sex without a woman. A woman controls her body. A man cannot force a woman. So it's not necessarily a woman's fault, but a woman's responsible for choosing the right type of man. That's your responsibility. You know, as a man, all I can do is actually present myself to you. You have to accept me. So the reality is, if you meet a man like Future, right, you know, he has 6 children by 6 different mothers, and then you decide that you're going to actually engage in a relationship with him, and you didn't do your due diligence. You didn't look at the fact that he's not being a father to any other children that he has, yet you still want to take that risk. That's actually on you as an individual. I think sometimes we get caught up trying to point the blame, but the reality is, if a guy isn't worth a damn, he's not shit, and you decide to entertain him, I mean, why is it the guy's fault if he's showing you exactly who he is and you decide to give him an opportunity? That's called accountability. The accountability on men's fault is that you have men that are out here throwing their seat around and they're not stepping up and being fathers. And so,
but what about the men that don't approach women? What about, because see, the men like Future, they're going to talk to women all day long,
right? Versus
if you're a guy that's shyer,
right? You're
not getting a girl because you're not even shooting a shot.
Correct.
A lot of dudes nowadays are socially awkward. They don't have dads.
Yep.
They don't have big brothers.
Right.
They don't have uncles to teach them how to talk to women. So I think a lot of it's being missed, that it's good dudes out here, but they're not even talking to the women.
That's true.
Yeah. So they're only, if 80% of the dudes that approach you are like Future, eventually you're like, fuck, well, I'm gonna just give one a chance, because it's like, well, oh, dude, you know, Brian's not talking to me, but Tyrone is.
Well, this comes down to culture, because who's teaching men how to interact with women, right? That's a man. A man is supposed to teach another man how to interact with women. So who's teaching women how to interact with men or what should be acceptable type of treatment. What ends up happening, like to your point, you have a lot of guys who are actually, they run a lot of game, right? They got a good mouthpiece, and women will fall for that, right? They're good at words, they're wordsmiths. And so again, the issue isn't so much about who has game, who doesn't have game. It's more so about, as women, are you paying attention to a man's actions and behaviors, or are you allowing yourself to be serenaded by his words? And I think what ends up happening, these guys end up becoming, these ladies become serenaded, and then the guys don't ever follow through. I think if we actually practice and pay attention to things that we should be focusing on, then it'll be easier to decipher whether or not a person has good intentions or not. And so again, are you looking for a man's traits, his characteristics that are valuable, that actually brings value to a relationship? Or are you actually selecting men based on how smooth they talk, how good they look, what their body looks like, what their bank account looks like, what they brag about, things of that nature, or the other? I think at the end of the day, we're just not picking properly, and then nobody really taught us how to do it. And so we come out here and we make a bunch of mistakes, and then we get scarred. So,
and then I think there's a large population of dudes that's just not even trying. And
then there's guys that are not trying, or they're afraid.
Yeah, or they're afraid to approach. And if you don't approach a woman, well, another dude is. That's true. Let's take some calls.
Let's take it.
Oh, I love starting shit. I love this. A holy place.
Hi, Storm.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for bringing me up. First of all, I want to tell your guest, I want to let him know that he really doesn't know what he's talking about. And because, let me tell you why. Storm, I love how you actually engage with him, because you kind of gave the opposite of what I'm thinking. I'm tired of men like him always blaming the women. There are so many women that are not looking for men, the men that he's talking about, and I'm one of them. I'm not looking for anyone that's a thug, and I know plenty of women and young women that are not looking for that. You don't know what you're talking about. Every woman is not the same, just like every man is not the same. And if you want to fix something, then you need to start a group for men and teach men how to be a man. And just like Storm said, a lot of the thugs, they don't have a problem coming up to you, presenting themselves to you, or trying to talk to you, or whatever gift of gab that they have. That's what's approaching a lot of women. And that's what's been approaching me.
Let me ask you, holy place. Do you find yourself, like, when you're out in public, do men approach you on a regular basis? Because I'm hearing a lot of women that say they don't get approached, and like men don't even, they'll look, but then they won't come up to you. So what are you finding, like, when you go out?
Yes, I get a lot of men that come up to me, but they're the type of men that that are thugs, or they're thugs. They're bold enough to come up to you. But men like this bald-headed guy sitting here with you, they're standoffish. They don't come up to you. And I know that I'm a beautiful woman. I know that God made me a beautiful woman. And I don't.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, your profile picture is good.
I don't need anything from a man, and I can take care of myself. But it's men that are, if they look a teeny bit okay, they're full of themselves, and so they won't really approach you. And I have one lady that I know. I actually know a lot of women that are turning into aggressive women, where they'll come up to the man, or try to engage in a conversation with someone that looks halfway decent, just to try and get their attention. But it's like they have a stick stuck up their butt. I mean, look at me. I'm a beautiful woman.
So are you finding that?
Beautiful woman.
Hold on. Are you finding that you saying men that are handsome?
Yeah, a lot of them that. Yes, Storm. A lot of them that looks halfway decent. It's like they have a stick up their butt, and then but a lot of the beautiful women. A lot of the beautiful women that I do know that do approach the guys that looks halfway decent, then they'll talk to you. But see, I'm not the type of woman that will
a
come
holy
up
place.
to
Let me
you.
holy place. Let me ask you a question. You there?
I'm here.
Yeah, I think you may have misinterpreted what I was saying. I didn't say all women. We're talking
You're
about a
being
very
negative mostly.
well, we're talking about something negative. The conversation was about, we started off talking about Russell Wilson. We're talking about Future.
I'm tired of that. I'm
You're
tired
tired
of
of what?
hearing that. What you mostly said were that women are more or less attracted to scrubs.
No, that's not what I said. I think the problem when having this conversation is people get triggered because they only hear one type of thing that's being said.
Well, that's mostly what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You are
well,
saying.
Listen, that's not what I'm saying, and I think you just misinterpreted what I was talking about.
Well,
but that's not your fault. But listen, here's the thing. Here's the reality. Are you currently married right now?
Why are you?
I'm just asking you a question.
Why are you?
I'm not married.
You couldn't.
I'm not married. I'm just asking you a question.
Asking me that.
No, I'm asking you a question.
That's number one. You didn't hear.
Why are you so offended by the question?
Out of all of this conversation, you didn't hear not one thing that I said, but I guarantee you.
No, I did.
That Storm did.
You came up here and insulted me.
Storm, I want you to know you're very rare. You're so handsome. And one thing about you that I love, you are very positive, and you really do stand up a lot for women, and especially Black women. That's one thing. I mean, you really do, and I love you for that. But I noticed that he really stuck on women picking the wrong guy. But I'm gonna tell you, a lot of these guys.
But I think the problem is that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about people, men and women, picking poorly.
Russell Wilson to me is a throwback.
There we go.
So I think you're missing the point. We're talking about the clip from Fox Soul, and she's speaking specifically about men calling Russell Wilson a simp. You got triggered and got offended.
I heard that, but
my thing is, how about you discuss the topic that we're on and stop trying to put words in my mouth? I think that's the issue.
How about you? Okay.
People always want to. How you call yourself a holy place? You sound very unholy, actually. You're very rude and you're very disrespectful. How do you call yourself a holy place and you seem very, very unholy?
There are so many Black women.
But we're talking about something very specific. Holy place.
That are educated men.
Unholy place.
Can you listen? Women that are
okay.
She's not listening.
Okay. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish your point, holy place, and I'm gonna let her respond, and then we're gonna move on.
Yeah. Let me finish because you have all night to be on this show. But I'm gonna
bless your heart. Go ahead.
To get off.
I'm
gonna tell you this.
And go to your husband and have a conversation about him, about what we're talking about. Bring your husband on. Let's talk to your husband. No, let me talk to your husband. Let me clear it up with him. Or let me clear it up with all. Let me clear it up with all the men you keep talking about that are chasing you down. How about we talk about that?
You see how
go ahead, holy place, and
listen to him. Look into him. He talks too much. That's very feminine. And then another thing. This is Storm's show. This is not your show. You're a guest, and I'm gonna address you and let you know what you need to not do. And let me clear this up. There's a lot of Black women that would love a man like Russell. There's tons of Black women. We're not looking for scrubs. We're not. There may be a few women that are attracted to maybe a scrub. They are younger kids or teenagers that love rappers or whatever. But a real woman, there's plenty real women out here that love to have a Russell. And the thing about it, it's not just our culture, our society. There's just some young people that are ignorant and that needs to be, taught. And instead of on here bashing, what you need to do is take your energy and you can mentor the young men, and we can mentor the young women on what to look for. And some of them aren't getting educated and taught in their homes. So people like us, we can help those young people. These are young people wanting thugs and scrubs. You're talking about 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 20s. That's, it's not that.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Holy Place.
You really have it all wrong.
Okay.
Thank you, Holy Place, for coming up and giving your take. That's what I wanted. It's what I wanted, you guys to come up and challenge him. So thank you. You have a good night, all right? Love you. Take care.
I love you. You're so cute. You're so handsome.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Lord have mercy.
Bye.
So that's what I want you guys to come up here and do. You guys come up and you challenge the talking points. And I'm just here.
I think what's interesting is that when you have a conversation about a particular topic, people want to focus on what triggers them most. The conversation was about Russell Wilson and about Future. So I'm speaking directly towards that issue. You guys, listen, let me be clear. This is not a statement about all women. I think, unfortunately, sometimes when we have these conversations, these are sensitive topics. People get triggered easily. We are not labeling all women. I'm not labeling all women. We're talking about Future. We're talking about men like Future. We're talking about men like Russell Wilson. You guys, please, don't get offended. Please pay attention to what we're focusing on. The reality is this: Russell Wilson is not a simp, right? That's the thing that's going on around YouTube.
I agree. He's not
a simp.
He's actually a good dude.
He's a good dude.
Not even to mention, like, he goes, he helps sick kids at the hospital. Like, he's a good father. He's God-fearing, so he's a good dude.
He's a good guy.
But I can also see how maybe in life he has lacked the skills of, wooing a woman. And I can see that though. Because if you're hyper focused on being a football player, you ain't got time to have no mouthpiece.
But what is his focus on? His focus is on his purpose.
True.
So I mentioned earlier before the unholy place came up here and all of her hell and brimstone, it was unnecessary. I think she missed the whole point. What I was saying was Future's situation is this is a culture issue. This is a culture issue. People are calling Russell Wilson a simp.
Simp, corny,
because he has a lot of money, he's successful, and he married a woman who had a child by someone like Future. So what they are saying is the logic on a lot of men that are calling him a simp. They're saying that he could have had any woman he wanted who didn't have a child. There's some men who believe that women with kids is a liability, and that's not true. And so again, this goes to the miseducation in our community, which is a cultural issue. And so that's what I was stating earlier. And unfortunately, again, when we have these conversations,
people are going to get upset.
People get upset because they hear it, which is fine.
That's okay. And y'all are going to throw shade. That's just what it is. But let me say this too. I think one thing in our culture that I don't like is where do we have room for redemption? She got with Future, it was what it was. She learned after one baby, she got her shit together quick. Right. And moved on. So if she had kept having babies by Future, we would say, well, damn, you didn't learn after the first. You didn't learn after the second. She learned. She found somebody better. She's living a great life. I don't see the issue. In addition to that, yes, she had a small baby, but she's very attractive, sweet, like she's a good woman.
Well, I think the problem is, in my personal opinion, is that we have created a situation where we're mislabeling people based on their circumstances. For example, you have a woman who's married, she has kids, and then she divorces and she has a child with her. That doesn't mean that she's not valuable or she's not a good woman because she has a child. And so for whatever reason, this toxic ideology is starting to become very pervasive within our community. You have men who are saying that I don't want to deal with a woman who has a child, and because we believe that she's not valuable.
But who gives the pushback on them and say, but you got a child?
Well, of course.
Because here's the thing. It's like after a while, you're going to run out of people to date. Like,
that's true.
You get to a certain age, motherfuckers got kids. Like, that's going to be what it is.
Well, and that's my thing. Because at the end of the day, what is the purpose? I feel like we've gotten so distracted. Right? We're worrying about things that aren't really relevant. Marriage is for a particular purpose. True. Legacy building is for a particular purpose. We've turned this whole thing into a comedy show now. It's more so about popularity. It's about who's more attractive, who got more money, but that's not what marriage is about. And so I think at the end of the day, again, this has become a cultural issue within the Black community where we are not looking at marriage the same way as our counterparts. You know, it's about legacy building. It's about building wealth. And so now how did it turn into a whole entire sport about this woman has a kid, that man has a kid? But they're not valuable.
But do men, at least millennials, and what's after millennials? Gen Z? Gen X? I
can't keep up. Yeah.
I can't keep up with shit. Do they even want to get married?
Well,
because you hear so many dudes now that talk about going their own way.
Yeah.
I don't want to get married. I don't want to settle down. So, you know, we can preach marriage to women, but men have to be willing to get married too.
Well, I mean, the whole idea, though, I think is this. Do we understand the value of marriage?
No, it was never explained to me. I can tell you that.
Well, see, there lies the problem.
It was never explained to me.
So if you don't understand the value of marriage, then it's just kind of like, what are we doing? What is the purpose? So if a man doesn't see a purpose and value in marriage, why would he want to get married? If a woman doesn't see the purpose of the value in marriage, why would she want to get married? Who was actually teaching us? And again, I always say this goes back to culture. So are we teaching this in our community? Is everybody saying, hey, this is our objective? This is a mission. This has to be one of the most important things that we do as a group of people, because this is where wealth is built.
That wasn't stressed to me. It was definitely stressed to me to
be
single. Yeah, get education, stay single, have your own place, do your own thing.
Correct.
It was marriage was not. It just wasn't. It wasn't stress.
And this is why we're having issues with our community, because we're not building anything. We're waiting too long to get married. We're not building wealth together. And by then, people already had kids. This guy, he got 2 kids. She has 2 kids. And then now people are avoiding one another. And so, again, I think, and this all goes back to the dynamic of how do we view each other as value or not valuable based on a person's previous circumstances. And this is why this conversation is always so triggering to people, because unfortunately, some people are upset because they have made certain mistakes, or they have invested in people that they did not, they kind of refuse or they don't like or anything like that. And then now as time goes on, you can't reverse the clock. You can't take anything back. But what can you do moving forward? And I feel like we always focus so much on the problems within itself. We never really talk about the solutions and how to fix them moving forward.
Now that I do agree with.
Yeah.
A lot of people stay on the problems because, it's clickbait. People going, talk their shit.
Right.
If you're on the woman's side, okay, we want to hear this. If you're on the man's side, we want to hear that. So I can see that.
Right.
But I'm going to look at it. I'm going to play devil's advocate. That's what I'm going to do tonight. It has to be disappointing to lay up and have a baby by a dude and then he dips.
Absolutely.
He fucks you over.
Absolutely.
He say he love you just to get some pussy.
Absolutely.
He say he gonna be there for you. He get another bitch. Now he taking care of another bitch kid, which I've seen a lot.
Absolutely.
That has to be disappointing. And so, going to therapy, healing, all that stuff, all that shit that wasn't popular before. So we're at that point now.
Correct.
So I'm just imagining if I was a woman, fuck, you done left me with a baby. You said you love me. You said you was gonna be here. I think I'd be a little upset too.
Absolutely. And I think the issue is not so much about being upset. It's about how do we correct that? Who was talking to men and telling men how to address women properly? Who's actually educating men on how to have better relationships? Who's educating men on how to be husbands, how to be fathers? Before
I got my therapist, I had nobody.
And so, and what ends up happening, you have a lot of men who are out here and they don't really know what they're doing, and there's no excuse for it. And so again, what do you do if we have men and women who don't really understand the value of a relationship, don't understand the value of parenthood, don't understand the value of community and collective consciousness? Then again, there's going to be a lot of reckless behavior. And that's all we see. We see a lot of sexually undisciplined people coming together, making children, and then no one's raising them. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that because we look at the men and what the men are doing and the faults that they make, and how the court system does align themselves with women. And so women naturally get access to the child after the child is born. I think there's a misconception of an assumption that all mothers are good mothers, and that's not true either. And what I've seen in our community, a lot of times I've seen both parents be bad parents, but the child gifted to the mom. So at the end of the day, it just becomes a thing.
Oh, you mean in cases where like when it comes to custody, where the dad gets like every other weekend?
Correct.
Okay, I got a point on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked through this book literally on child psychology and yada yada yada, all that good shit, healing childhood traumas and all this shit. So literally, you know, when the baby's born, the first couple of years, the baby still doesn't even realize that it's not inside the mom anymore.
Okay,
it doesn't. I can't speak for girls. I can at least say for baby boys, we're supposed to be attached to our mothers until about age 11. And then the father should take over as the primary parent.
Okay.
That's what I learned out of that book. Now for baby girls, I didn't read that part. That wasn't, you know, pertaining to me. But it's interesting how difficult these dynamics get when we're not in the same household. That's basically what it is.
Correct.
Because even when you're growing up in the same household, you know, the baby boy is really attached to the mom.
Right.
He's almost like in love with the mom a little bit, you know. And so here comes the daddy wasn't there early. Okay, I get to y'all in a minute.
What's that? Oh, okay.
But literally, it was just funny to me how, as a boy, yes, you do need your mother in the beginning. To speak to your point,
right?
So technically, in the beginning, yes, she should be the primary parent, but about age 11, it should flip, because then you get into the boyhood and the manhood, and that's where the man needs to step in. So I can just speak from a boy's perspective. I can speak from that.
I think what's the problem is we've gotten too comfortable, feeling like both parents aren't needed.
Oh, and they very much are.
And they are needed. I think, again, these are sensitive topics. You know, if we look at the idea that we're really not looking at marriage and relationships like a business, a form of survival is what it is. Wealth is built in families. We as a community are not focusing on building our families. That's just a fact.
We are very individualistic.
Yes.
Because even I am. I don't think about, oh, I should. Even this weekend on Instagram, y'all was like, Storm, you want a relationship? You want to get married? Right. No, I don't.
Where's the excitement?
I just like traveling and spending my money.
And here's why, and I think this is why people don't like having these conversations, because it's not ingrained in us for it to be a duty and a responsibility. Marriage is a duty and a responsibility. It's just honestly, it's just that simple. We focus more so on love and how it makes us feel. And in fact, no, it's a business. That's why you get a marriage license. That's why if you split up, you got to separate half of your stuff. Like, I think, again, at the end of the day, we try to avoid accountability so much. And I think this is one of the biggest issues where it's hard to have these conversations, because if you're avoiding accountability, then there's no way to turn this ship around. People, we make a statement about what women are doing, and then women get mad if you don't say anything about men. The reality is we are both mutually involved in this interaction, and we need each other. So at the end of the day, the men are doing things wrong and women are doing things wrong, you know. And again, this whole conversation started because of Russell Wilson, a man who saw value in a woman, and that's what he saw. He saw her value, her characteristics. And then he interacted with her. He said, yo, this woman has the qualities that I'm looking for. I want her to be my wife. He's happy, you know, and I think he's happy. And that's all that matters. Yeah. And that's all that matters. And we're getting so caught up in what a person looks like. You know, he could have had any other woman. No, he found a woman who does exactly what she's supposed to do for him. And again, we as a community are getting so distracted with things that are so irrelevant. You have people who are focusing on their needs.
So then created a channel in 2011, which was in which this was my focus. It was received and it was positive without controversy. Okay.
He said it wasn't being received?
Yeah, because I guess it was too positive. That can happen too. This YouTube, social media, that can happen. Oh. But I think another thing, and now I'll take these last two callers and then we'll move on to the next topic. I think part of it is too why this is so popular on social media. People ain't used to seeing like a black woman thrive like that. Really think about it. A lot of dudes grew up, they saw their mama struggling. Mama might have had a fucked up baby daddy and she struggled. She didn't have her she didn't have her Cinderella moment, or Cinderella's not the right term, but she didn't get rescued, so to speak. Because Russell came in and
but he didn't rescue her though. She had her own.
She did.
She upgraded.
But ain't nothing like what he got.
I mean, yeah, but she wasn't in need of him. Because see, this isn't about money, and I think this is where people are making their argument. The manosphere makes an argument saying that he has all this wealth, he can have any woman he wants, and he picks a baby mama. They're more so jealous and upset that he picked a woman because she was with Future. So they look at it as why end up upgrading this woman's life who was making poor decisions like dating a guy like Future, getting pregnant by Future. That's their logic on how they think about it.
Okay.
So to me, the problem with that logic is it doesn't hold up. And so there's a lot of things in the manosphere that's very ignorant. And again, I'm not in the manosphere. That's not my content. But again, I hear and I listen to the things that are being said. And so I'm looking at it as an adult. How do men look at certain things? And how do women look at certain things? And I think there's this big confusion. People assume because you're successful that you're supposed to live your life a certain way. The man found happiness, respect his happiness. As long as a woman, I think people don't understand what a simp is. Basically, a simp is actually a man that is actually giving his all to a woman, and she's either emasculating him or disrespecting him or taking advantage of him.
She respects that man. She loves her husband.
And so that's not the case. Yeah. And he's married. So he made a statement, because I had a debate with someone on YouTube about this same situation. He made a statement and said that Sierra is a woman that he would never want to live without, or something to that effect. Okay. And I guess people in the manosphere started dragging.
Oh, one of his biggest fears is losing her. That's
his biggest fears. Yes, and so I had a debate with a guy on a panel who brought it up and said that, yeah, he's a simp for making that statement. I said, sir, that's his wife. And I asked him, are you married? He said no. He didn't have a problem answering that question though. So again, the question matters.
But yeah,
if you've not been married and you don't know what it means to have a wife or a husband, and you're speaking on these particular issues about how this man feels the way he feels, you're not a husband, sir. So you, as a man, that's exactly how you're supposed to feel. As a man, you're supposed to be willing to die for your wife. So again, you don't understand it because you're not married. So of course that makes sense. So I think, again, these things are very sensitive to a lot of people, and no disrespect to the unholy lady, but the reality is, you can come up here and insult me, or you can come and talk to the topics that we're talking on. But bless her heart, though, regardless.
Y'all
I hope she finds love.
You gonna make that lady call back in?
Let her call. Somebody out there for her.
Donna Dash, you were up.
Hi, Storm. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Just slightly annoyed because, first of all, this just sounds like any Dusty that comes on Sinji's panel and talks about choosing better and accountability on the women to avoid male accountability. That's all I hear with this, because he's talking about, the women are choosing these men over quote unquote good Black men, which statistically speaking doesn't really exist, but whatever.
I never said that though.
Women, the community.
I think, real quick, Donna. Real quick.
Can I finish?
Let me make a statement real quick, Donna.
You just let her finish.
Let her finish. Yes, okay.
Women in the Black community are not passing up good Black men, quote unquote, the imaginary good Black men for scrubs or Black men that are thugs. And stop saying we built this culture. No, this is a Black male culture that Black males created, and you need to talk to other Black males and stop.
You there? Wait a minute. You there now?
Talking to to vet them and choose from them. Like it's not, this has nothing to do with Black women. This has everything to do with how Black men choose to conduct themselves, choose to make the standard of manhood in the community. Because if Black males didn't accept this behavior from other males and pass down this male culture from generation to generation, it would not be this way.
Okay,
Number
now let
two,
them not let them respond, because she's saying the men is who is passing down this culture from generation to generation. So let me let you respond to that.
So first, Don, let me correct what you said earlier. I did not make that statement. And again, we're talking about a very specific topic. I'm not talking about all women. I'm not talking about all men. The reality is, it's
you
on
were,
both
but when you're
sides.
talking about the community dynamics, you're saying a generalized statement, which means you're
I'm making
talking about a good sum of people.
That's why I always say some. I always make sure I say some, because I know some people have a hard time processing that. So I'm talking about the few. Okay, so let's talk about the few. What I'm saying, that there is an issue. There's absolutely an issue in our community in regards to relationships and dating. If it wasn't, this wouldn't be such a popular topic that's going on throughout our community now. There is a real issue, and the culture has a lot to do with it. And again, you talk about men. Yes, men are a problem. The women are a problem too. It's an equal problem on both sides. So let me ask you this: what would you suggest the solution is?
I think the solution is for Black women to explore all their options equally, look at the statistics, look at the community dynamics, and make their choices on the best man, regardless to race, whether he's Black, white, Asian, or in between, based off of the statistics and the realities. Because when you look at the stats and you look at it, breaking it up, first of all, Black women are not the ones that are causing trouble and turbulations in relationships. It is Black men, because when we look at divorce data and we look at the data of how Black men behave in all the relationship dynamics, whether the women are colored, whether the women are white, whether the women are Black, Black men are the highest divorced men. Black men seem to have the problem with manhood. Black men also have a problem with they don't know whether they don't even know what manhood is or being traditional or value. I keep hearing you say building wealth together. First of all, I don't know why we have this weird thing in the Black community. First of all, a man is supposed to build the table, have food on the table, create the table, and then he is supposed to marry a woman to help maintain that table emotionally and in the house and with the children. This is the only community where, for some reason, women are expected, culturally speaking, we're expected to provide financially and go 50-50. I don't know why that standard is there. I don't get it.
My thing is, though, that's not accurate, though, because you pick, right? Men and women pick each other. So if you come across a man that doesn't equate to your standards, then why would you accept him? The reality is this: these men are
It's not women choosing the men, that's the men choosing to be that way. And to be honest, that's
fine. But that's fine, though. You don't have to accept said man, though. I think that's.
But then that means that Black women just shouldn't date Black men, then, because that's
fine.
the majority of Black men.
I think on an individual level, I think everybody should do what's in their best interest. So if you don't see any value in Black men, no one's forcing you to be with them, right? And again, I think at the end of the day,
but you're talking about choosing better, and you're talking about it's both.
I said
to be accountable.
And I said
both sides. But it's not both sides, because Black women are not the ones having issues.
Well,
that's an inaccurate statistics in relationship dynamics.
That's an inaccurate statement to make, because what you're saying is
no, it's not. You know why we know it's not inaccurate? Because there's data to back it up.
Okay, hold on, Donna. Let them respond to that. Then I'm gonna let you come back in.
You're talking about data. I'm talking about there are men who have bad outcomes with women in general. So there are women out here that aren't quality women. There are men out here that are not quality. So what you're saying is not accurate. What I'm talking about, the responsibilities on both people to make sure they choose properly. Men do pick bad women. Women do pick bad men. Again, this is a mutual problem. You're trying to make it seem as if the men are the only issue and women are out here perfect and not having any problems. That's just not true.
That's never what I said. And it's again, it is not a both sides problem, because when you look at the data, Black women.
What does the data suggest?
When you look at the data, Black women are doing better in relationships in terms of marriage when they actually do get married versus Black men, especially when she marries outside of her race. Okay. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I think
even if you look at wealth and like building and the culture, statistically speaking, Black women are the most educated, Black women make more money than Black men on average when you're looking at it now. So Black women are getting.
True. That's not true. But I mean, you can.
Actually, is true, but
it isn't true. Well, regardless,
let me tell y'all something. We're gonna have a show to pull up these statistics.
I got them. We can pull it up
because people talk about them all the time. So we're gonna have a show.
Here's the thing. So it's not. So it's not. So you're saying this, but Black women are improving. Black women own the
but that's not what we're talking about. But that's not what we're talking about.
But you're talking about people are doing bad in relationships, but they're
not.
Because
Donna,
Black women go outside.
Donna,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You're saying the choose better argument. I understand where you're going.
But let's focus on what we're talking about. You keep bringing up things that I'm not talking about. You're putting words in my mouth. Let's focus on the topic.
What you're saying that some women choose bad
and some men choose bad.
And they choose better argument, and I understand what you're trying to say, but no, it is not true because the women are not choosing these men knowing that they're thugs, they're bad people.
That's not what I said though. And again,
they're vetting these men, but that you may not realize that's what you're saying, but that is what you're saying. If you
that's how you interpreted it. No, that's how you interpreted it.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Donna. Have a blessed day. You know what's interesting? It's how you could say something and someone takes what you say and they create a whole new reality around it.
Well, we also gotta let each other finish a thought, but then we also can't be long-winded either.
Very true. Listen, you guys, let's set the story straight. But people pick poorly.
Right, people do pick poorly. Now what she was trying to say was we can't really vet Black men. Like even when they think they have the educated lane. Even when they think they have the educated lane, then a lot of times they still dealing with issues. So they're like, we don't really have a way, because whether he's outwardly aggressive or inwardly aggressive, we still seem to have issues.
So that can be, and that's the problem with this logic that they're using. They're assuming that all women are honest, good quality women and bring value to a relationship. That's the assumption that she's making. She's also making the assumption that there are no good men that are valuable, attractive, and bring anything to the relationship. That's 100% not true. So the reality is she's not taking, no one wants, what is it about accountability that people are so afraid of? Why is it that a woman can just be wrong and not worth a damn? Just like there are men who are wrong and not worth a damn. You guys, it goes both ways. This is not a perfect society.
I think we should ask somebody.
Like, come on, you guys.
I think what they're feeling is, he just doesn't like women. I think that's what they're.
Of course, that's what they would say. That's such an ignorant statement to make because you don't like what I'm saying or it goes against your belief system.
Man, we could be on this topic all day. Yeah, we got to move on, though. We got to move on. We had like 3 other topics.
Man.
We ain't got 3 other topics.
I want to hear what they have to say. Again, if the lady said this, she's saying that basically in so many ways, Black men aren't worth it. They're not worth investing in anymore. She's
saying due to the statistics. So what I need to do for another show, maybe even bring you back, is we need to literally just go through the stats.
I would love to,
because what they're saying is you keep talking about this pool of good Black men, but it's real low.
It's not though. Black men are doing really well. I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know. We need to do a stat. We need to do a stat.
We got to pull up the stats.
We need to do a stat.
Because I hear people all the time refer to stats. It's like we just need to pull up the stats.
Them up and let her point it out. I'm curious. I'm really curious.
Okay.
We got a whole line.
Would you be willing to come back and I bring Cynthia G on? Do you know what that is?
I heard her. Yeah.
Okay, I'll email her. Everybody in the chat, what do you think about that? I bring Nathan back and then just let it be a conversation with me, Nate, and Cynthia G. I think that would be dope.
I think it'd be dope.
I think that would be dope.
My thing is we can look at the stats. I'm curious and we want to play this back and say, this is what she said.
Yeah.
So again, it's definitely.
All right, take that down. Hold up, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and just finish the last 2 stories. You want to do the NBA one first or the other one?
Which one? This right here?
Yeah, you want to do this?
Yeah, we do.
All right.
Best for life.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and play these last 2 clips, and then we'll let y'all talk at the end and wrap it. We'll be up here forever.
Man, I don't mind. I say bring them up. I want to hear what they all got to say.
I know, but see, I want the mess. I don't want y'all straight cussing each other out.
No. It's all, listen, you guys, it's all love. It's all respect.
It's all good.
We got different perspectives. That's okay. At the end of the day, we all want everybody to be happy, y'all. We all want people to have successful relationships.
All right, so let's play.
Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
That's you, man. That's you, Dad.
King's right, baby.
That's you.
Don't walk over there so we can get come on.
Look at the Murrays, man. Murray.
Unmute. All right, so I'm gonna expand this for y'all, and I'm gonna just read it to you. I'm gonna have to look on the other side. All right, so Devontae Murray, he said we had our differences for almost 7 to 8 years, and I just want a relationship with my dad before it's too late, and not have one of us living with regrets of not being a man and fixing the problems we had. I love you, Dad, more than you will ever know, and thank you for taking ownership on why you wasn't there as much as I wanted you to be as a kid, when I was a kid. But what matters is focusing on what's right, and that's fixing our son-father relationship right now. Happy birthday and happy early. Oh, it's a birthday and a Father's Day gift. All right, so it's double in one. All right, so Devontae Murray, basketball player. Same story we hear a lot. Dad wasn't necessarily there in his youth like he would have wanted for whatever reason, but he decided to, surprise him with a Father's Day gift, birthday gift, brand new truck. So you got two sides, right? One side says you're trying to buy your father's love.
Okay.
Why are you buying him that truck? He don't deserve it if he wasn't there. We don't know the details on why they want to speak.
Right.
About 7, 8 years not speaking. Other side says it's chump change to him anyway. It's a good gesture.
Right.
Long as they're mending fences, who cares? And so the question is, after a parent has not been in your life for such a long amount of time, is it okay to give them gifts?
Yeah.
Of that magnitude?
I think to your point, I guess people have an issue because I'm seeing in the chat people are calling him a deadbeat dad. People, you guys listen, people change, they grow, they learn. You're never above learning and growing. And I think it's a beautiful thing that they've come together and actually healed whatever old wounds or whatever problems they may have had in the past.
Because for them not to speak for 7, 8 years,
that's a long time.
That's a long time. But then Devontae's like in his 20s, so it sounds like they got into it maybe around when he was a teenager. Something happened.
Yeah.
And who knows? We all got into it with our parents at that age, right?
Yeah, and who knows? And a lot of times, I think what people forget about these dynamics is that the parents could have had an issue with one another, and unfortunately, the child always end up taking the brunt of that disagreement between the parents, or the father was just irresponsible, not taking care of his business, and wasn't doing his job, wasn't being a father. And then, as he grew and matured as a man, he decided to come back and rekindle or fix or repair. And maybe he got pushback from his son at that time. And then now they're finally fixing it together. So I think timing is important, but I don't understand why people have made such a big deal about it.
I think a lot of people looked at it like, oh, here we go, another case of
the dad coming back after
not as you're successful. I think that's how people looked at it, and they're like, well, if y'all ain't even been talking like that, maybe don't buy them a car, maybe just give it time. And one thing I'll say is this, like even in my case, I would say definitely both parents put me in the middle. But with that generation of like the 60s babies, 70s babies, a lot of them, they don't know how to apologize. They don't know how to. So if you want a relationship, you're gonna have to be the bigger person. I ain't saying you gotta buy them a car.
Right. But we don't know the circumstances behind their relationship.
Falling apart. Yeah.
Falling apart. But I think one of the biggest problems that I see a lot of times going into different homes and interviewing different parents and kids is that there's so many issues that arise from relationships. Should they not ever come back together and rekindle?
That's a good point too.
You know what I mean? And so I think people get so caught up in, again, they don't know what the history is. They don't know the circumstances. Was he a deadbeat dad? Okay, possibly. We have to have enough understanding to say that this young man knows the situation well enough to know, and whatever conversation they had, he saw it to be genuine, right? Okay. And so we need to be able to give people that level of grace and say, granted, listen, if he's a deadbeat dad, cool. Well, we've seen men rekindle relationships with deadbeat dads, deadbeat moms. Women rekindle relationships with deadbeat dads, deadbeat moms. You know, if they, whatever they discuss, we're not privy to that. And I think on the outside looking in, people are always so quick to judge a situation and they don't know all the facts. The reality is we should be praising the fact that this young man rekindled his relationship with his father.
Which is good, and which is what every young man needs.
Right.
Tiffany said, I just wanted the father to take the initiative. You know what though, Tiffany? I agree with you, but a lot of times, like with that generation, they also would kind of feel like, well, you're probably better off without me anyway.
And it depends.
We still don't know what happened.
You don't know. And I've seen situations where the father has made plenty of attempts to rekindle, and at the time the child didn't want anything to do with it.
Wasn't ready for it.
And then the child wasn't ready for it. I've seen situations where I've had people call and say, hey, can you come down here and meet with us and we're going to have a discussion, and I mediate between the two. There was a situation now just like this where now the son feels more comfortable and wanting to have the conversation and wanting to fix the relationship. I think there's assumptions that people are making because, now that he's successful, when ultimately he could have been trying to rekindle this thing prior to him being successful. But at the end of the day, people change. I mean, perfect example, Drake took his dad back.
Yeah, he did.
And Drake got millions of dollars. Millions. So what is that? Right.
True.
So what does that mean? And so I think we're just too quick because he's a man and he made a mistake. He can't be shown any grace. Why as men we're not given the same type of latitude that we want to give and extend to women. I mean, I'm just saying. It's like people are people. Okay, he's a deadbeat dad. Okay, and what? He changed the situation around. Does that mean he can't have access to his son or his daughter anymore because of what he did in the past? At
some point you got to move past.
At some point you got to move forward. So again, I think we get so caught up in just trying to. It's always this attack against gender instead of us paying attention to, are we growing? Can we fix this thing? And no one is saying that he's going to turn around and start cutting him a check, right? Like I think that's kind of this whole misconception. But
I will say though, even if you look how the dad accepted the gift, okay, get out.
He wasn't all excited about the car.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was like, "Hey, give me my keys."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would give him that. All right, last topic, people. We're gonna run through this real quick. He's hungry. That's why he's doing that. So there is a new procedure out there, people. The BDLs, or Alive and Well. This has been a thing, but it's getting popular online, and this procedure is done in Atlanta, and I may be going by there. It's none of y'all business. So let's just get to it.
We are now offering penis filler here at Shrek Cosmetics. Penis filler is performed using a naturally occurring substance found in the body, hyaluronic acid, which is injected into the shaft to produce a marked increase in thickness. It is performed in the office in under 45 minutes using local anesthetic, and the procedure has little to no pain. Even though it is mainly a procedure that increases penis girth, the length of your penis may also be enhanced due to the sheer bulk of the filler, which causes it to hang longer. There is little to no downtime. Results can last up to 2 years, and this treatment is done very discreetly in the office. When booking for this service, you can just book a filler consultation to keep your business and treatments private. Book your appointment today at shrekcosmetics.com.
So everybody is going in on this procedure. People didn't know that this was a thing.
I didn't know it was
even
a thing.
in Beverly Hills, you can go to Dr. Jason Emmer, and he will give you the sculpted six-pack. He'll take all that, take it back here. They filter the fat, and then they can inject it into your member. I need to see the before and afters.
Right.
You nasty, Dream Doll. But it does make a difference. And so should men do this? Because some of the ladies say some niggas need it.
Man, I don't listen. My thoughts on that is I'm big on loving self. You know what you came in with is what you came in with. You feel like you got to do all those things and alter your body, do all that. You know, there's a lack of self-love, you know. And unfortunately for men, you know, we've for so long we've had to just accept whatever shortcomings we have, right?
Literally, yes.
You know, there's no, you know, I'm bald, so here we go, right?
But the bald is in though.
According to some of these,
the bald is in though. The women,
but the issue is not so much about what the women want; it's about what my insecurities are.
True.
So
okay,
the reason why you have people out here changing their bodies, getting BBLs or whatever, is because some might say they're not happy with their body. Some say they just want their body to look different. I think at the end of the day, insecurities are the root of a lot of these things. Someone made them feel bad for not having or not looking a certain way, or feeling like they're competing with other people who have that and they're getting certain attention they're not getting. As men, we never had a lot of the access to change ourselves like women do. So, you know, when men lose their hair, you know, Beijing, you know what I mean?
You can do Beijing, but that's gonna sweat out. And they can tell.
And they can tell. And women don't like that.
Like, damn, your shit black.
Yeah.
Or you can get. They got the lace front for.
But they didn't always have that.
They didn't have that though.
So as a brother, if you out bad, you out bad.
If you ugly,
you ugly. As a brother, you can't fix ugly. With women, you can fix ugly. Y'all can be ugly and then after about a good 2 hours, y'all look brand new, a whole new woman. You know, you can cover stuff up. I can't leave the house and wear makeup if I got blemishes and all that kind of stuff.
You can, but
right. How that's gonna go?
I don't know how that's going. Yeah.
And I seen how these ladies be clowning these brothers who got the chalk and they draw on their beard and all that kind of stuff.
Seen that too.
So again, these things aren't acceptable. So now you got guys out here getting prosthetic penises. You know, they're getting penis injections. How that?
I ain't gonna lie. I'll go get some monster shit just so it look cartoonish. I don't give a damn. She in Atlanta too. I don't think she's that far. And this hyaluronic acid is the same thing that's in serum that you put in your face.
And now people changing the teeth. They getting teeth and all that. You know, they getting the veneers, and some of them looks bad. So
I did braces, but
that's different. Those are your teeth. So with this situation here, I mean, what did she say? It gives you girth, but it doesn't necessarily give you length. So now you're gonna be walking around here looking like a busted piece of biscuits. You know what I mean? And so as a guy, my thing is just, it is what it is. You know what I mean? They got something now if you want to be taller. Like if you're not tall, you don't got all this. I mean, what does it change? At the end of the day, it gives a guy a little bit more confidence.
True.
But it doesn't change who the guy is within himself. So
and it's still gonna be, you know, you have kids and then they're not tall, and this is like,
correct.
Or there's going to be something where she knows, like, did you do something to you?
And genetics is genetics. So true. Regardless, then you have a son and he comes out with a little dick too, because at the end of the day, it's genetics.
True.
So, you know, I think honestly, you know, when I'm mentoring young boys, I tell them to love themselves. When I'm mentoring young girls, I tell them to love themselves. Don't get caught up in the hype of trying to alter your body, alter things about you, because at the end of the day, you'll never truly be happy.
That is true too.
You know, and so love yourself. I think that's the most important thing.
I say love yourself, but y'all, she like right up the street. So I'm just saying. And then she said it ain't even no downtime for real.
Facts, but hold on. But what about the side effects though? Yeah. I can't imagine nobody putting nothing, injecting anything. After my accident, I was when I was in the hospital. They gave me so much medication. They're like, "Hey, we need you to pee in this container," and I was doped up on so much drugs I couldn't even feel my shit. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to put a catheter in you." I was like, "Man, hold Hold on.
Hold on, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
So she came in with the catheter. I said, "You gonna put that in what?" I said, "Nah." And so I think I can't even imagine someone going in there trying to manipulate.
About it.
Oh man, could you
knock me out for you do that shit?
Well, so at the end of the day, I think you don't really know what the side effects are. Is it worth the risk? What's the worst that can happen? There's side effects. There's side effects to everything.
That is true.
So if they're like, okay, your stuff might fall off, droop down to the side, your testicle might disconnect, all for what? Half an inch of girth. And if you know what you're doing in the bedroom, you just hit the angles. You ain't really got to worry about all that. So listen, I know brothers are gonna be lining up to get it done.
They're gonna be lining up to get that done. They're gonna be lining up to get that done.
I can't.
Well, listen, this is what we're gonna do, guys. Is I gotta take the dog out, and I don't want to make this video too long, so we're gonna pause here, and then let's come back. And how about I give you an hour, if you got time, with the people, and y'all just go back and forth.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, all right, people. So we will be back in give us about 15 minutes. The Shay Sheik and Bay, come back about 15 minutes, and you guys can just debate with Nate.
Debate with Nate.
I like that. We'll be right back, guys.